Hello, and welcome to Homeowner AF, the Canadian first-time homebuying podcast. I'm Brianna Goslin, mortgage agent level 2, and I work with Canadian first-time homebuyers every single day. If you want to own real estate in Canada but aren't sure how to position yourself to get there, this is the podcast for you. I want to see more young Canadians in the market, building equity and long-term wealth. That starts with getting the right advice at the right time, so you're positioned to act when it matters. Each week, I'll bring you bite-sized episodes that actually move the needle toward homeownership. Short, strategic, and packed with practical tips that you can use right away. I'll cover topics like minimum down payment, closing costs, credit, co-signers, and more. Remember, your finances are like a thumbprint. No two are the same. For advice tailored specifically to you, book your free call at briecallme.com. Now, let's get into it. Hello, I'm Brianna Goslin, mortgage agent level 2. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a longtime listener, welcome back to Homeowner AF. I'm thrilled to be recording again because so much has changed, and quite frankly, I've got a lot to say. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer in Ontario gearing up to purchase this spring 2026, or if you're the loving parent, sibling, or friend of a first-time homebuyer, or you might be market curious, I like to call it, you're in the right place. In the coming months, you can expect new topical episodes every week, giving you the first or the next step toward your first property purchase in Ontario. I'm going to be touching on all sorts of things like down payment, closing costs, mortgage insurance, what happens at the lawyer's office, what to remember on closing day, and what the heck is a mortgage renewal. And then, of course, everything in between. Since I stopped recording in 2024, we've experienced so much change in the real estate market, in the mortgage market, but also in the real world, considering the political climate, the rise of AI, job security for Canadians, or should I say insecurity for Canadians, the increased use of credit, as well as a housing shortage that will not be turned around anytime soon. And these all impact first-time homebuyers disproportionately, of course. I know there's so much information out there, but what is really missing for first-time buyers is a lens that helps you decide what applies to you as a young Canadian. And that's what this podcast is. So, you can listen to me weekly, you can binge me all at once, or send the episodes to your friend or partner. All of this that I'm putting out is to prepare you and to make you feel the most comfortable you can be signing off on, let's be honest, a massive home loan. And that's sometimes what I refer to mortgages as, because I think they deserve the respect, and people need to understand that they are a massive home loan, and we need to plan our transaction appropriately. So since I've last recorded, I've worked with hundreds of Canadians to help them do that, to help them plan their first home purchase all over Ontario. I work virtually with my clients, so we meet on Google Meet and through Zoom and over the phone so that I can help them arrange their mortgage financing. So that's enough about me. If you have a million questions popping into your head, like, when should I get my pre-approval done? Can my parents co-sign? How much down payment do I need? That's good. I'm going to be answering all these questions and more in the coming months. But today, I'm going to quickly cover who is a first-time home buyer, and it might actually surprise you. So traditionally, a first-time home buyer is somebody who has never owned or co-signed for a home anywhere in the world. So not just in Canada, that includes the United States, Mexico, Vietnam, anywhere. You cannot have owned anywhere to qualify as a first-time home buyer. And that's still true. If you've never owned property, you are a first-time home buyer. So you get perks. Federally, you qualify for the homebuyer's tax credit, and you can access your RRSPs without getting that tax hit through the homebuyer's plan. You can also use the first home savings account, and you can receive the first-time homebuyer's tax credit. You also get access to the new housing GST HST rebate, which is for new builds, and you can have an extended amortization, so a 30-year loan length, on an insured mortgage with a minimum down payment. That is all accessible to you as a first-time home buyer in Canada. Now, provincially and specifically to Ontario, you can access the land transfer tax rebate, which is great. That makes a huge difference in closing costs. And then at the municipal level, if you're in Toronto proper, you also have access to the Toronto Municipal Land Transfer Tax rebate. Then municipally and regionally, you may also have access to down payment assistance programs depending on where you are in Ontario. Stay tuned for an upcoming episode to learn how you can actually leverage these programs together to accelerate your home ownership journey. But for now, I want to let you know that some of these programs are actually available to you again after you've purchased the first time, but only if you fit a certain criteria. So here it is. For most of these, if you've been out of the housing market for 4 years or more, you can requalify as a first-time homebuyer. This is true for the home buyer's plan to access your RRSPs for down payment and closing costs, for the use of the FHSA, and that extended amortization, that 30-year loan length on insured mortgages. Unfortunately, if you jumped out of the market and you're ready to come in after 4 years, you can't access the land transfer tax rebate again. And then those municipal programs and regional programs that I talked about that offer down payment assistance, those are case by case. So you will have to review those guidelines with your mortgage broker. Now, you will not qualify for any of these incentives if you have a common law situation where you are living with a partner who does own their home. This does not count as renting. You actually, in the eyes of the Canadian government, are part owner in that home, and as such, cannot qualify for these first-time homebuyer incentives. So I have a client who I worked with last year, and she did think that she could requalify as a first-time homebuyer, but when we got into the nitty-gritty of her situation, she didn't actually qualify. So I'll share here, obviously changing the names, a little bit about Jenna's story. So Jenna's divorced. She did own her home when she was married, and then they sold it, and she decided to rent for a couple years. Then she met Zach, and after a couple years of renting, she moved in with him. Now, Zach owns his own home, and the way they had it set up was Jenna did not want to be on title. She did not want to have a vested interest in the home, so she would just e-transfer Zach some money for utilities and to cover the mortgage. Then they break up, unfortunately, but Jenna sees the opportunity to now purchase her own home on her own. She was surprised that she did not qualify as a first-time home buyer because she was living with Zach as a common law spouse, and he did already own his home. So that disqualified her from these first-time home buyers incentives. Now, Jenna's story is exactly why working with a professional who understands the nuances of these guidelines really matters. When you have the right guidance early on, you can move through the process more confidently, and you can know which programs are available to you, and then you can structure your purchase properly from day one, which cuts out a lot of heartache as well as time that you are losing by not being in the market. Now, the goal here is to sit at the closing office, at the lawyer's office on closing day, and I want you to feel calm and prepared and fully informed. Never surprised. Surprise is not what we want on closing day. So that's the goal for me, and I look forward to working with you to make it happen. But that's it for today. But if you have 1,000,001 questions, which is good, I'm going to be dropping a couple of episodes today, so go ahead and binge those. And please send your questions my way. My email is hello@briannagoslinmortgages.com, and I'm Brianna Goslin Mortgages across all my socials. I'm active on Instagram and Threads, so send me a DM or a voice note if you want your question to be featured on the podcast. Okay, that's it for today. I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to Homeowner AF, the Canadian first-time homebuying podcast. You'll find links to everything I mentioned in today's episode in the show notes, along with details on how to connect with me. I welcome all of your first-time homebuying questions. Send me a voice note to have your question featured on air. And if you're ready to talk through specifics for your first home purchase, you can book a free call at briecallme.com. Remember, if home ownership is your goal, you could be closer than you think. You just need the right information to make the right move. I'll be back next week with another tidbit to help you get there.